Okay.
Welcome, everyone, to, I guess, KliqCast. I don't know what to call this, but me and Sarah are here to give our review to the Raw on Netflix debut, which was production-wise incredible. It was
stellar.
Felt like a pay-per-view, felt like a PLE, and
we're
here to talk about. It really did. It really did. We're here to talk about the whole show. We're probably going to talk a bit about Wrestle Dynasty, just because why not? But main thing we're going to talk about is Raw. So this is all Raw, essentially podcast format, a little bit different than the Raw review that I was doing like a week or two ago. But yeah, overall the show was ridiculous. One thing that I noticed immediately, just like we did with Max and AEW here in the States, is the difference of the picture. So it wasn't like anything on USA was bad, but like it was just more clear. It just seemed more clear, or a higher definition, higher HD, something.
Yeah.
Then
it was the same for us.
So I don't know if that's just what you get with Netflix. The quality is just ridiculous or what. But and I don't have like a crazy expensive monitor, but on my PC, I was like, why does this seem like more HD than I've ever seen before? Like, it just felt ridiculous. Really and then, of course, the new arena in LA, the Intuit Dome that they were at tonight, was top. It's just on production-wise, the way they built it is insane. Every seat has a light that is controllable. It has built-in audio readers for decibels. It's an insane arena. It has that like the SoFi type of little dome thing on like the screen, or that goes all the way around. It's insane arena. So it was the perfect atmosphere with how big it is. They fit 17,000 plus people in that arena. They did the cutoff top with the entrance, or the Titantron. So it was like fans behind that.
Fans behind it. I thought
they had the drones for the live crowd outside the show. They had the entrance ramp for you to go do entrances into like a little ring with all kinds of different stuff. They had an outside merch truck. Like, it was a big deal, and
incredible. I enjoyed it a lot.
I do like in-ring action, but this was presented just too good. Like, I'm a mark for the in-ring work. I love a good wrestling match. I don't care, but at the end of the day, stories matter, of course, and WWE's been the best at that recently. But my God, did this have? And I'm not trying to be mean. Forgettable matches, but at the same time, great storytelling. Like, the best match was, in my opinion, I'm just going to say now, is Tribal Combat.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I thought 100%. It was a bit overbooked, but I mean, so was the first one. But
I expected it to be overbooked, honestly, but I think it was overbooked well. Like, I don't think they went too far.
We've only had 2 of these matches. Tonight was the second one. It went basically the same way the first one went. I didn't really expect it to go any differently.
I didn't like that match. The one thing I did not expect was KO.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I was waiting for was Jey, but it makes sense why they didn't get him involved. He was getting ready with this match with Drew.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people like, oh, maybe we'll see Hikuleo here. We could see, Paul turn. I never really understood the Paul turning thing. I guess the main thing was that he wore the red underneath the like whatever. He kind of wore like what Solo wore one week.
His suit, like when he came back.
So I guess that to me that's not enough to convince me that he's doing anything like that. But it didn't happen. And The Rock wasn't seemingly not involved with Solo before. So obviously that was the first match. But we started with the great video package with Triple H voiceover, the history of wrestling. People in my chat said that they brought him to tears. Like, just they love pro wrestling that much that the package was done so well that it moved them to tears.
I thought that was just me. Like, I wasn't like crying, but I definitely had tears just watching it. It felt I
got goosebumps, if anything. I didn't get emotional that way. I felt like I could have, but I was so hyped. I don't know. I was just more like excited. But I could understand. I totally understand why people would want to get like happy tears. And no one said like they were crying. They were just like, I definitely brought tears to my eyes, or maybe they did.
It's definitely emotional.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really cool how they did the like projection too. So they had the curtain covering the ring to start the show.
Yes.
So we didn't even see it. So it was presented on there. I don't even think they cut to like a live video feed of the video. I think we watched basically the whole thing on, and they might have, but I think we watched the whole thing on that curtain essentially, even on the TV.
Yeah, I think it was just like a rotating camera kind of going around.
I think it did cut towards the end, if I remember correctly. But no, in general, that was still really neat because we had never seen something like that in WWE.
It was different. And then how it just like fell to reveal Triple H. Like, I thought that was really good. That pyro
was insane. That whole arena was just made for wrestling for real. But
it really was. It's perfect.
But I really thought that was cool. And then Triple H, of course. I actually was a little sad because we didn't get what we all thought. He said it, but not the way I thought he was gonna say it. He said, "Welcome to Monday Night Raw" pretty calmly, and then I think then he said, "Welcome to Raw on Netflix" or something. But I wanted the "Welcome to Monday Night Raw." I guess he did that after Mania though, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say like kind of like he did Mania weekend, you know, where he kind of like hyped it up a bit more in his voice. But I do want to know, like, how long was he sitting in between those curtains?
I mean, probably not too long. I mean, they did let the crowd. I would feel like they would do the thing where like they try to hide the wrestler. You know what I mean? Where they try to like bring out all the people and like.
Unless there's like a little pathway like under the ring and stuff, you know, that he could kind of like.
I doubt
sneak
that.
Into.
That'd be crazy.
But I was just like, how on
I'm
earth,
pretty sure
like,
they just did the classic. Yeah, I don't think he was sitting there since they opened doors, but I think they probably just.
Crazy.
I think they just did the whole thing where, like, when I went to NXT No Mercy earlier this year. I don't even remember who it was. Sorry, last year. They at one point, as I remember, even the people behind me were like pointing it out. There was like they didn't come from the entryway. They came from like the other side where the cameras were, but from like behind the stage. They started walking. There's just tons of people with black hoodies, and they all had like a lot of them had their hoods up, and some of them had headsets on and whatnot. And they just like walked to the ring. They walked around the ring. Some of them stopped and did some things, but the majority just like walked around the ring and then they were gone.
Okay.
So it was really weird. But I'm assuming it was probably something like that. Because that'd be hilarious if he was just sitting down there the whole time, like for an hour after doors open.
You know, but keeping an eye on the IWC.
He's just scrolling on Twitter. Excuse me. But yeah, no, that was a great opening. And then we immediately cut to. Like, I thought they were going to go to Travis Scott, because then it went to, like, that weird, whatever noise that was. It was, like, a different noise. I was like, ooh. And then it went to The Rock. Song or something. Yeah. So I thought we were getting Travis Scott, like, to give us the new fucking song or whatever. And then, nope, it was The Rock. So they kind of trolled us with whatever that sound was. Like,
I feel like I'm such a rock mark, and I didn't think I would be, but every time I see him, I just lose my shit.
Oh, I get excited too.
Like, I mean, thought it was so cool.
It was cool that he announced it though yesterday too. So we did know he was going to be there, obviously, but it was still dope as fuck. Obviously, it's The Rock, one of the greatest of all time, most entertaining guys on the mic. So he had an interesting promo. I didn't know what I was expecting. Honestly, I didn't know if we were going to get a continuation of what happened after last year's Mania with him and Cody on Raw, where they were like tension and all that. And what made that more interesting is Cody was ringside but front row, which they did with a lot of people throughout the night, but. He was the first one they showed after The Rock was in the ring.
I thought he was gonna like maybe challenge Cody, like throw out a challenge, but he just praised him.
Yeah, no. So he just praised like the Netflix people, shouted them out, like because he's obviously a board member, so he's probably helped get the deal or whatever or something like that. So he like shouted them out, like the fans. I don't remember everyone. I think he might have said Triple H or something, but then that's when he started talking about I want to. Give a special shout out to Cody for carrying like for the last year. And it was like, whoa. And then he said Roman, and I think that was it. And then he just went into the, if you smell type stuff. So that was.
Oh, he made like a little smart remark about Cody.
Say hi to Mama Rhodes.
Tell Mama Rhodes. I say hello.
But otherwise,
got Cody, like,
I don't know. I guess I expected heel Rock and not because he did come out with the people's title as well. So he turned into board member Rock essentially. So that was cool though, still. And obviously we went right into tribal combat immediately after. And the other thing Rock said was he said that he acknowledged Roman Reigns prior to the match. He said the only and original tribal chief or something like that.
Yes.
So and a lot of people, there was speculation amongst the IWC since Mania last year, or since Solo started his own bloodline, was there someone else behind it? And I didn't think so. I mean, there was not enough proof for me to believe that. So I never really thought so. And tonight we figured out it wasn't. He kept his word. So he did come out after the match as well. So the match, let's talk about the match first. So what did you think of the match? I mean, we kind of already talked about it. I said it was match of the night.
I thought it was great. It was everything I expected like it to be. Like it was just full on craziness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there were parts that surprised me, like KO. Which then obviously led to Cody.
Yeah, KO was unexpected for the match. I totally thought we would see Jey be the one to come in there, but it made sense because the whole thing is built around Cody and
then for some reason, the one that it was, I think was it Tama that pulled the ref out?
Yeah, Tamadaga.
For some reason, I thought that was Jimmy to begin with, like until I fully saw him, And I was like, no way is Jimmy like siding with Solo now.
That'd be
I
so
was so
stupid.
confused.
No,
I
yeah,
know,
that was dumb.
exactly. And I'm like, why the hell did I think that was Jimmy?
Because you wanted to turn.
No, I don't want Jimmy to turn, not on Roman.
But yeah, no, it was a lot of people. I think a lot of people expect more because there was people, not a lot, but there was people coming in the chat that said predictable. And to me, usually when people say that is they, it is. It's not. I'm not saying it's not predictable. On top of it, I'm just saying I think a lot of people usually when they think that after, even if it's something entertaining, in my opinion, and everyone's gonna have different opinions, so they're allowed to have their opinion. I just always find it that the people who say that expected more.
100%. And I do feel it was a predictable outcome. I think we all knew that Roman was going to get the win here. But at the same time, I think predictable can be very enjoyable.
Yeah,
And
if done well, it could be great. And I thought it was. I would call it to the book of what you would expect in a tribal combat match, because we only had one prior to this, so it was basically the same thing. Like we saw, Tama Tonga, Jacob would get involved, which brought out Jimmy and Sammy. And of course, KO got involved, which brought out Cody. So it was kind of essentially what we saw in the first one with everyone getting involved with Jey and Roman. But I didn't hate it. I thought it was still done well. The sell was done well. And then what made it cool, though, so Roman did retain after all the cool spots and everyone's hitting their finishers. What was cool is immediately after, obviously, Solo had asked Paul to hold the Ulafala throughout the match. And Paul was going to put it on Roman, and The Rock came out, but he didn't even come out to his own music. He just came out with no music, nothing. Yeah, he just walked out there slowly, and he looked at Paul. Paul gave him the Ulafala and put it on. So I thought there was a small chance when they were doing that maybe, and they did kind of stare at each other, and then they shook hands, and we could hear him say, love you, blah, 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 blah. And then Roman threw the one up, and Paul threw it up, and Rock threw it up.
Like, even when Roman was doing that, like throwing the one up, and like going like from side to side of the ring, it kind of looked like The Rock was side-eyeing him a little bit. So, like, The Rock
I still think we'll get that match. I just don't think it's going to happen at this 100%. Year's Mania. I think if we do get The Rock at this year's Mania, the thing that would make the most sense would be him and Cody after what they did last year.
Yes.
Because that was great. 100%. Everyone loved the whole beatdown out in the rain before Mania. And obviously, Rock pinned him in night one. So you have a story.
Well, that's what I thought was going to happen when The Rock came out first to open Raw today. Well, not open Raw, but, like, I thought he was going to lay out a challenge to Cody.
It makes sense. He pinned him in the tag match at night one. Yeah. So it would make all the sense in the world for that to be the case. But at the same time, it was a little surprising just to be like, okay, he's giving Cody the props. Cody helped Roman tonight. He's not upset about any of that, like a lot of people maybe thought he would. But no. So I don't know. Again, the dirt sheets are saying that what they're being told is right now, Rock hasn't said that he's going to be a part of it. So they're just writing as if he's not going to be there for now.
They're pretty much at the mercy of The Rock's schedule. So it's pretty much just wait and see.
Yeah, it's just wait and see what he's going to do. Yeah. So I would be surprised even if he's not doing what he did tonight at this year's Mania, just showing up, being a board guy, like board of directors, what do you call them? I could see that happening. So overall, though, that was definitely the best match, though, for sure.
Oh, 100%. And then after that, we seemingly got more confirmation of Penta.
Was that after that? I thought that was a bit after that.
Yeah. That was after that.
So damn. Yeah, everything happened. There was so much that went on tonight.
Yeah.
The one thing, though, that we're going to talk about real quick, too, before we move on to that, is that you're obviously in Australia. If you don't know, my fiance is from there. She lives there currently. You are international. So what we found out earlier, I forgot who it was, some vice president talked about in an interview that international fans would get more content and less commercials than U.S. people.
Correct.
And you did. I didn't see a lot of shit tonight. Yes. I don't like that.
So it was all, mainly for us, it was, no, I won't say mainly because it was all like inline WWE stuff. So we got like commercials, but they weren't like the typical commercials you see during a random TV show, Like they were all WWE related. The first one,
you also got like
segments,
interviews that we didn't see, and you got matches continued during commercials that we got.
Yeah.
But also another quick weird thing is people who said lived in America here. Some people were saying that they weren't getting any commercials.
I saw that in your chat today.
But then there was people who saying they paid for the premium here in the US, the most expensive tier, and they still got commercials. So I asked those people, I'm like, are you using VPN? Are you on a computer? How are you watching? And they'd be like, yeah, I'm on my computer. I'm like, are you using a browser that has a built-in VPN turned on? They're like, I'm on Chrome. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it has VPNs, but it's not like I use like I have
Automatic.
like Opera GX. That one kind of has one always turned on. You can turn it off though. But yeah, no, there's a few like Brave and DuckDuckGo that have like VPNs automatically enabled. So I was like, why? How are they getting it? But I'm not. So there was what all segments did happen that were I didn't get.
So the first one was just pretty much Roman talking about the history of the Ulafala and how this match ended up happening. The segments that we got were Jackie, Redmond, and New Day, where they pretty much just talked shit about LA, you know, as a town, and saying that the LA didn't deserve to have their tag match today, so they were the ones that made it not happen.
Ah, that makes sense. Okay. I'm
And
wondering if they uploaded these to
then
their
they
YouTube.
talked shit about Kendrick Lamar, I believe, which didn't go down well.
Well, yeah, he had one of the most popular songs of the year, if not the most one of the year in the US.
So that didn't go down well. The other one we got was Rhea and Damien. Rhea just spoke about how Liv took everything from her, and she said that Liv can only beat her when she has help. And today she didn't get that help, hence why Rhea won.
I mean, she got help. Rhea just kicked out of it.
Rhea just kicked out.
I guess unless she's referring to the rest of Judgment Day, that would make sense.
I think that's what she meant, yeah. So we got something with Miz and Cross, but I didn't see all of it. But it led to a Wyatt logo flashing on the screen. So Cross is not done with the Wyatts. He wants Miz's help, is what I took away from that.
Yeah, I think someone told me in my chat that the Miz essentially was saying he was done working with Final Testament or some shit. Is probably what the part you missed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then Cross had Miz hyped up where he was just saying yes to everything.
Oh,
you know, he's like,
okay.
Did you beat Cena? Yes, I did. And there's all these things, and then he's like, Are you gonna help me with the Wyatts? And it's just like, Yes, I am. And then Cross just walked away.
That's funny.
So he kind of played a bit of mind games, you know.
I hate that we're not. I'm assuming. Okay, I'm checking right now because obviously they're doing the post show right now. I kind of had. I rated Parky streams and he was kind of watching it, so I kind of saw some of the John Cena stuff. But
it kind of sucks that you guys have not seen this because there was a match made for next week that you obviously had no idea about until me and people were mentioning
well, no, they brought it up at the end before Punk and Seth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going right now through their latest videos on YouTube. They do have. I'm on lives. They do have Punk talking to oh wow, see I'm assuming you guys probably saw this. It says Punk calls out Cody Rhodes and Gunther. I didn't see that. It ended before that. Yeah, no, they actually don't. So no, they didn't even upload the segments, at least in the US WWE YouTube, like a geolocation.
You guys don't get to see it at all?
Yeah, I'm on that right now. They have uploaded to their YouTube the Triple H kicking off. Rock makes his entrance. Rock acknowledges Cody and sets the stage for Treble Combat. Rock crowns Roman with the Ulafala. Roman Reigns versus Solo. Treble Combat highlights. I'm assuming that's all the interference stuff. John Cena makes massive Royal Rumble announcement. Rhea Ripley beats Liv. Taker and Rhea. Jey Uso eats with Travis Scott. So yeah, they have not even the backstage segments we did see uploaded to the YouTube.
So that's interesting because for international, we're getting all of WWE on Netflix. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and all PLEs. I wonder if NXT and SmackDown are going to be the same because we have it on Netflix.
Yeah, I would assume so because we are still getting out in USA and CW.
Yeah.
So I would assume.
So I don't know if we're going to see things again that you guys don't, or.
Well, you're going to have to watch NXT tomorrow, even though you don't like it, and tell me. It's New Year's Eve. It should be a good show. And it's New Year's Eve. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
So that's I hate that. That's the one thing I hate now, though, is that I haven't checked their Twitter, and I'm not going to check right now, but I don't know if they've uploaded it to maybe there or Instagram or TikTok, those things. But I hate that. I hate that there's things that you guys are getting that sets up things that we're going to see later on, and we're not seeing that here. And I get it. I can use a VPN, all this stuff, which is true, but the way I live react, it's not the simplest. Yeah. I've done it. It's just it breaks certain things for me.
It's just more difficult.
Yeah, it just breaks certain things that help me stream easier. It will break, even if I use certain VPNs that will bypass, you could choose your .exes that won't be affected. I do that, and it's still eventually 10 minutes into the stream. Oh, this isn't working anymore now. It's like a fuck.
It's
almost not worth it.
I know they announced it. They obviously announced the Priest and Finn thing, but to you guys, that's just something they've put together. Whereas really it was something that Priest announced himself. It's not just a random graphic you're seeing. If that makes sense.
I mean, it's not like the most important thing, but it's annoying. It's annoying.
It is.
But I get
But
it.
Damien
I get
did
it.
say next week is the
Different.
end, so
Netflix has different things in different areas, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I thought it would have been the other way around.
Other than that,
I thought it would have been like we'd miss out, and you guys would get everything.
No.
But it's the other way.
But at the end of the day, it's something small, but it's stupid. We went from that to you said the Penta thing. I didn't realize it was that early in the show.
Well, on my notes it is. I assume I didn't mess up.
I mean, I could go to tell you what order because when I post things in order when they happen, but I feel like it was way later.
Oh yeah,
than that.
you did.
And it doesn't matter. But anyways, John Cena, I remember essentially happening after Tribal Combat. So he came out. He had his whole, final whatever the fuck I said. His gear is all LA based. It was like LA Dodgers related.
Yeah.
He came out. He cut a pretty long promo. Just kind of running down like why it's time and all this stuff like that, and talked about he's on a long losing streak, 2,000 plus days since he's won a singles match. He did win like a tag match with R-Truth last year on Raw, but singles match losing streak he's on right now. So he did win that multi-man match on Raw after Mania, or whatever it was, SmackDown, one of the two. But he hasn't won. He lost to Solo. He's lost to Theory. I can't think of the rest because it's more few and far between his matches have been. So he was talking about he himself didn't think he should go for 17 because he needs to just get back on the winning track first and foremost. But then he started talking about the never give up and how he can never say never because he was saying that he doesn't think he's going to hit the record or break it and all this other stuff, or how he wouldn't accomplish all the other goals, maybe like the Grand Slam, all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So then obviously the crowd started chanting like he could do it. And then he's like, the only way I could do it is if I do Chamber or Money in the Bank or Royal Rumble.
Oh, Rumble.
And then he realized, he's like, wait, I could be in the Royal Rumble. So he's obviously he could tie the record for most Rumble wins. I forgot during the stream that Austin had it at 3. I thought it was tied. Yeah, I thought it was tied with Sean and everyone, and Randy and everyone, because I knew Cena already had 2. So I was like, oh, they're all tied. And then chat was like, no, Austin. I was like, oh, I forgot. Well, technically, Austin got eliminated in one of them. The refs didn't see it, and then he went back under the ropes. Yes, when the refs were just because the two I forgot who 2 guys were brawling. So Austin came in and threw out everyone because the refs didn't. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Point being, Cena declared himself for the Rumble match.
I, as a Cena fangirl, am very excited, very very excited, but also very sad because it's his last Rumble. But
he's one of the greatest of all time. So a lot of people already know my relationship with Cena. I was always the Cena sucks fan. Like I liked him as Thugonomics, but once he became Super Cena, I fell out of love with wrestling a lot during his run. And I don't blame him. It's just that the product got boring, and he was just on top the whole time that product. Not the whole time. The majority of the time that product wasn't in my favor. That I didn't care for it. But no, I just never really enjoyed him, and I was one of those nerds that he's always winning. It's the same 5 moves of doom. That was me. And at the shows too, and when I would go, even when he was on top, it was the Cena sucks thing. But over time, he won me over. I realized his value and how great he really was. And excuse me. And it's sad, but I don't get like emotional like you do about it. Like I know his value and it's sad, and I got goosebumps during his entrance tonight and everything. And I thought it was awesome. I just don't have that connection that you do. I had that connection with Sean. I'll have it when Kenny retires or whoever else. I had it when Taker retired. I bawled my eyes out.
Also, like when I started watching, like the first event I ever saw was Cena winning the world title.
Yeah, WrestleMania Eagles Hollywood. Yeah.
So that was the first time I'd ever seen him. So he was on top of the company when I started watching.
Yeah, I was in and out. I don't think I even watched WrestleMania 21 live because I saw Kurt and Sean later on, I think. But overall, great. As John Cena would say, fine speech, touches bald spot. But great. I did expect Logan Paul to interrupt him though, and it didn't happen.
Me too, and I was kind of hoping he would. And I know I'm going to be in the minority there. But I just think a match between those two would be really, really good.
I just don't want it to be Mania.
No, I don't want it to be Mania. But I think a match between them is something that would be incredible.
Yeah, I really think it'd be fun. I just don't think it's a necessary thing that we need. But at
It
the same
seemed like
time,
a
I'd like
Logan
him to
thing
work
to
with
do.
people like a
Interrupt a
Dom,
Logan.
like a Logan, like a Grayson.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of the younger talent, or even some of the younger like mid carders that we aren't seeing much of, like Santos or stuff like that. Even LA
Oh yeah,
Knight.
100%.
Like there's, I'm sure people who are watching this video, if you've gotten this far, you're gonna tell us your dream matches with Cena, but that
Please
he hasn't
do.
happened yet.
Please do.
And obviously rematches with people like Randy and Punk and stuff
Randy,
like
that's
that.
the one.
you
I
know?
think that's probably the match I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah,
Is
so
Randy and Cena. 'Cause
great,
there's no
great
way
start
they
to the
can
retirement tour though. Really, really enjoyed it.
100%. I
We
agree.
did get Logan Paul
It was
immediately
great.
after though.
We did, and I don't know.
It
I
was
just
very, it
expected
was just
him
a
to
video
interrupt.
though.
Very Logan thing to do is interrupt people and claim he's better. So
Yeah, they didn't really
I
have
don't
him
know.
do
I
shit.
thought
They just showed a video package of like his highlights and him hyping
yeah,
himself up. That was really it. And then they cut to him
that
sitting
was
front
it.
row, just showing up, and he's like, "It's my time now." It was right after Cena, so it made sense why he was doing that. But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
my
no, it
time.
was very minimal for him. But no, he
I
actually got
hope
a
we
pretty good
get
reaction too.
interactions in the Rumble between him and Cena.
God, I don't even want Logan in the Rumble. He'll be in it though, so it doesn't matter.
He'll be in it. They gotta fill it up somehow.
So I don't have every little thing down here, but the next thing I have, because I'm just going off the scrolling text that I had from Raw, was the women's world title. I don't know
Yep,
if we
that's what I
got
got.
anything else in between there, but this obviously was a tough one for me because I am a Liv diehard. If you can't tell, that's Liv holding the women's world title on a pink American flag behind me. I'm a mark. I don't care. Yeah, she's got her Rhea shirt that she got when she went to Chamber last year. So
Yes,
good match. Obviously, it had interference
it
from
was.
Raquel and Dom. Not surprising. They were ringside from the beginning. But the story went too long. Obviously, it
I
was
agree.
hampered with injuries, though. We had a lot of injuries that pushed it back. I mean, obviously, they created the story years ago, and then Liv got hurt last year. They brought it over to this year, elevated her back up. Rhea unfortunately got injured twice, one
Rhea
for
got
quite a
injured.
while. The second one was only for like a few weeks, I believe, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so that got pushed back a few times, but at the same time, it was like, fuck, I felt like they could have definitely finished this at, what was it, Bad Blood? Whenever they did
Bad Blood, yes, when he was in the cage.
But it made sense because Liv and Dom cheated that, so it made sense to
They
continue.
cheated, yeah.
So, good match. I thought it was really good. They actually had Liv almost win clean. They had her hit Oblivion and everything, like, and all her like big moves, and Rhea
I got
kicked
scared
out.
a few times.
And then Rhea hit
I did think she was
Riptide,
gonna
and
retain.
Liv kicked out. So like they both hit finishers, and both of them kicked out of a clean match so far. And that's when Raquel and Dom started distracting. Dom threw in the title.
Yeah.
Raquel jumped up on the apron, but Rhea was basically ready for her, knocked her down.
And
Then
there was the chair.
Raquel threw the chair in first, and then got on the apron, but then Rhea knocked her down. So then Liv just ran at her Oblivion on the chair, but she kicked out of the Oblivion on the chair. And then eventually Rhea with like 2 Riptides to get the win. And I cried.
Won, baby.
I cried. No, it was really fun. It was a fun match. It was good. I thought if I really want to be a stickler of in-ring work right now, I could go out and say that I thought in-ring wise tonight it was not you can compare it all you want. And I did watch Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dream this weekend, and I did watch TNA, Noah, all this other shit the last 2 weeks. So I've been watch AEW, you name it. I've watched almost every big show that's happened since the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I could be a stickler and say, oh, I thought the in-ring portion tonight was mid, because I thought it could have been better. But at the same time, the stories were so good, it entertained me just as good if the match was actually like insane in ring. So I didn't really complain. I didn't really complain because I was like, it still entertained the fuck out of me, regardless of if it was close to Hazuki Mercedes or if it was close to fucking Kenny Gabe. And at that point, it didn't matter. It was just really good storytelling.
It's just good. Yeah, 100%. The match itself wasn't the best, but
I didn't think any of them were really a barn burner tonight at the same
good.
time. It was just, but yeah, all the stories are rolling, the presentation, everything, the crowd. So at the end of the day, even though I could be a stickler and be like, in ring, I thought it was not up to par as this. I still thought it was a fucking 5 out of 5. Like, it was just that entertaining.
Yeah, me too.
So even though I thought most of the matches were forgettable,
Dynasty,
most of the matches were forgettable in my opinion after Tribal Combat. Like I felt like everything was pretty basic. Which again goes to people saying the predictable thing they expect tomorrow. I didn't know what to expect in this one. It's just been going on for so long at this
Neither
point.
did I, honestly. The one thing I will say I did expect, and I think this is my own fault for expecting it to that level, was Becky.
Yes, I will agree with that. I did think we were going to see a return, whether that would have been Becky, Charlotte, Alexa, or even I don't know who else, but like I expected something. But also, a lot of people were expecting maybe the Penta's debut match tonight. I thought so for a while too, but obviously they've decided to move that to next week, which we'll talk about. I don't have that on my thing, but we'll probably just talk about it after this match. But so I thought matches could have been better, but overall the stories helped carry those matches to be good. So
and the fact that like Dom seems to want to be with the women who are champion, because as soon as Rhea won, he was going up to her, wanting to make amends, and I'm just like, dude.
But I don't think he was being serious.
He's coming across as a gold digger now.
I think yeah, you're right. But I think he also was not. The way I perceived it was that he was just trying to avoid from getting attacked. I think.
It didn't work out too well for him.
Because, like, let's hypothetical for a quick second. Say she said fuck it and hugged him and wanted to be back to how they used to be. What happens then? Like, how does that? What happens with him and Liv? Like, how do you tell that story?
See, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought it was gonna go the way SummerSlam did. You know, where you think he's on Rhea's side, but then he's.
I just think that would be stupid.
Then, you know, he's gonna
baby face in general
like,
to fall around for that. Like,
100%. But I also
after the
feel
they
like
told.
If they were for some reason planning on turning Dom face, like at this moment, I think that would have been the good way to do it.
I think there will be a day where they have Dom Rhea, like Dom might become like a champion of some sort, whether that be mid card or upper or something, and they like somehow have some type of thing where like they acknowledge each other or something. I don't know if we'll ever get them back as like
kind of like just bury the hatchet, you know, and just move on.
Yeah, like they're kind of like a Bailey Bianca thing right now, where they're just like they'll team up together, they're cool with each other now, they bury that hatchet, but they won't like do it all the time. You know what I mean? Just when necessary. Yeah. So I don't even know if they'll do it that way, but like that's the only way I could see that. I couldn't see them just immediately like, all right, well he's done with Liv, now back to Rhea. Like I don't know.
She lost her title. He's done.
I just knew he was just. To me, I just thought like, he just doesn't want to get his ass beat again. So that's the way I saw it when he went and put his arms. I was like, you know,
didn't work out too well for him though.
Yeah. So what was crazy though after this was which I also got spoiled. We knew he was already going to be there because if you read dirt sheets, they said he was booked, and obviously you take everything you read from dirt sheets with rumors. But
sometimes, unfortunately, they're hard to avoid. Like if you're scrolling socials, because people
and I always tell people, regardless of how accurate the person or the site or whoever they are is at reporting, just take it as a rumor just to be safe, because as the reporters will say themselves, plans can change, and they were saying that a lot today because there was talks about the super long Raw, which we only got a little bit of an overrun. We didn't get a crazy long overrun like we expected. So again, plans can change at all times. So at the end of the day, I always tell people just take anything you read online with a grain of salt. But what made it more of a spoiler was while people were outside waiting to get in, there was a screen broadcasting certain like wrestlers not showing up, but like they just had like a screen of like whatever, displaying whatever the fuck they were displaying. But somehow it cut to a live feed of in the arena of what came out after this was the Undertaker. Rhea was at the top of the stage. Taker came out, American Badass. He rode around the ring, all that stuff. And then he goes back up to Rhea and they do the pose and all that. So that was I was really curious because with the spoiler of him the feed cutting to Taker practicing, I guess, him going around the ring.
I was so confused.
I was curious what that was going to be about.
I was like, really? Like he's coming out now? Like,
I didn't know if they were just going to do that thing that they would do.
What the fuck is going on?
I thought maybe they were going to do the thing they do where like there was a while there they would do like wrestlers who really didn't interact like with entrances, like the women would be done with something and then the men would come out. Yeah. So I thought maybe that was what they were gonna do, and then once he went back up, I was like, oh, they're just gonna. And I said this in the stream, my Twitch stream, and I didn't think about it because it is a term in wrestling, but obviously when you say it about a male wrestler and a female wrestler, it's gonna come out really bad. So I was like, oh, he's giving her the rub. And then I realized what I said, and I was like, no, not bad. That's a wrestling term because it's like putting someone over.
It is.
I should have just said he's putting her over. But
if you're watching this and you don't watch wrestling, it is 100% a wrestling term.
I should have just said that he's putting her over.
It's kind of just like passing the torch, you know.
Oh, you think whatever you want of me. I don't care. Anyways, it was funny. I thought it was funny at the end of the day. But yeah, no, that was interesting. It was cool to see not Sean Taker though. There was rumors that Sean was there. I think he was just there because NXT probably. But so speaking of NXT, they did do at one point I guess Rock went live on Instagram, but they eventually edited it together on the show of him like going to the back. It was funny. They showed him like greeting Triple H, but then he like left Triple H hanging so he could dap up Roman. That was funny. Makes sense though. There's so many people back there and they all trying to talk to each other. But he dapped up Roman again, and then it showed him like taking a drink in the parking lot, meeting Travis Scott who pulled up, and then it cut to him in his truck, and he's like, "Tomorrow NXT, I'll be there," or whatever he said. And so Rock, first time on NXT, that's gonna be crazy tomorrow.
And that is the reason I'm watching. I'm not an NXT fan. Nothing about it draws me in right now.
The women's show, the women's division is the best. That's the best women's division in the company right there.
I am interested. I am interested in like Zarya and Julia and Stephanie.
Oh, they've been, and Ren Sinclair has been fucking putting on bangers with all of them.
Yeah, and I do like the group of Fatal Influence. I will say I'm a fan of them.
And we got Shotzi back down there, with teaming up with Gigi and Tatum as like a new Spooky Girl group. The Spooky Girls are back down there. Kate and Katana just came back down there. They had a crazy match. NXT is great. It's great right now. Anyways, Rock will be there tomorrow. That's gonna be crazy. So, what else am I missing here? There was something else I was gonna bring up before that. Liv Rhea. Am I missing anything before we get to the next match? Backstage segment?
So on mine, it was just the Miz and Cross thing, but I didn't see the whole thing. So, but it seems like Cross pretty much just tricked the Miz into still sticking with him and, helping him beat the Wyatts.
So the one backstage segment that I can remember is, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, because I think you had already told me about that, but was the New Day running into, they interviewed Fluffy. Gabriel Iglesias, and then New Day walked up like, oh, and you said they already had a different segment that I didn't see, but then they came up like, oh, we haven't been able to explain about Big E, and yet you're talking to a comedian over here or whatever. I loved what Gabriel said. He's like, come on guys, I loved your cereal or whatever he said. It's like, I loved the cereal, and then he's like, now's not the time for jokes. And then that's when they're like, oh, we're out of time, and Jackie was all like that, and then but then they're not out of time, because then it just cuts to Otis and all the Alpha Academy walking up, and they're like, hey Gabriel, yeah, and they're just all fucking like hugging each other or whatever the fuck they were doing. But then, so I don't know if that was after that, because I can't remember the order right now. But the big thing here was we did get Jey and Drew, but I marked out for something stupid, because they obviously had Travis Scott finally at this point, and he came out, and I thought he was going to perform, but they played Fiend, and it just kind of cut to him in the crowd. But essentially, he was just doing what they did in the past with Jey, where they have like a famous artist come out with him or play him out. But he didn't sing or nothing. He just was there. He just like, boom, his music was playing, and there he was standing holding like a beer. And then he had a fucking joint lit up, sparked. You could see the smoke, and he kept hitting it. And I was like, no fucking way. I immediately got up, and guys know me, I'm a smoker. So I immediately grabbed my peas, took some fat rips. I got up, started being over the top because I'm stupid. And then, no, I marked out. I was like, no way they didn't give a fuck about show. I know it's Netflix, but like at the same time, worldwide, if they were showing that is crazy. If you know, you should know. Yep. Because it's a federal level, it's illegal federally around the world. So for the most part, like really every country. Illegal, yeah. So it's crazy that on Netflix we have Travis Scott smoking the fattest doobie. Well, helping introduce Jey Uso, essentially. When Jey came out, he was still hitting it while Jey was next to him, and I loved it.
Yes, that's what I loved. Is that even when Jey came out, like he's still like hitting his joint. But what made me laugh was Bronson. Bronson retweeted, "When I come back, I better be allowed to smoke a bong coming out to the ring."
I already like Bronson, but now if I see him, I'm like,
it was something like that. Don't quote me, because it may not be word for word what he said, but he pretty much said he wants to.
See, now I wish he wasn't injured, so then he could be at Wale Mania this year, and we could go, and I'd be like, what? Because literally, when I bumped into Wesley, I don't want to say bumped into them. When we saw Wesley and Omos at Wale Mania 2 years ago, we were outside smoking, and we saw. Hard not to see fucking Omos. He's fucking. He's over here at the ticket booth, all all hunched over because he's all tall and massive, and then Wesley's just chilling, like just minding his own business, just kind of chilling there, just looking around. And we're like, oh, and that's Alex who knows him. Anyways, if we were at Volumania Bronson Weed, I would pass you the blizzy in a heartbeat. So that's funny. But yeah, no, I loved that. I loved that entrance, and I loved that he was smoking during it. That was fucking amazing.
It was great, and the fact that he had the hardcore title with him.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
I didn't notice. I was
I'm
so hyped up about he had weed.
I
was so hyped that he
Pretty sure he had the hardcore title or a version of it. But yeah, he had a title with him.
But yeah, so then we got into the match. This match, I think, was probably the more forgettable match of the night.
I didn't enjoy this match. I'm not gonna lie.
I felt like before this match, because that's why I was thinking that they were forgetting some backstage segments to talk about, because I feel like there's some little bit things happened that I can't remember fully unless I go pull up my TikTok here. But
well, when was the
no, yeah, it was before the main event. It was before the main event. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
No, yeah, but I feel like there's something else. Hold on. Jey Uso, The Rock, talking about NXT. No, yeah. Oh, they were showing celebrities. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, the celebrity show.
Yeah, I knew there's something that I saw that there was. So yeah, there was about 3 different times they showed. Oh, you're right. That was after Tribal Combat, the Penta thing. My reactions are in exact order of the show. So.
Yeah.
The other thing I know what. Oh, this was after Jey and Drew, so we'll talk about that later. Oh, we actually had a Gunther promo before Jey and Drew. I forgot about that. It was like a it was a video package.
I totally forgot about that. We did.
So since we're already talking about Jey Drew, yeah, it was in my opinion not the most exciting match. It was very forgettable. Like it was, the story was there, and he won by roll up, Jey Uso, but like it's gonna continue their story with the whole him hating everyone that teamed up with Roman thing and Punk. But yeah, very forgettable match. I would have honestly rather have Penta's debut match or the IC title finish.
Well, the IC title, yeah, 100%.
I get why they didn't want to, because they already had so many big things happening. But I feel like, and maybe that's why they did put that match on, because they knew it could be the fall match. It would still be entertaining because of the story they built up.
And I wonder if the title change,
but it was just
Liv and Rhea is why they didn't have the IC title there today. Women's.
Yeah, that too. I mean, in general, they just didn't want it overshadowed. But
yeah.
It was just a forgettable match, and that's probably why it was there, because it would be a fine match. They're 2 great guys who are really over for their own reasons, and they have a good story that's been built up through years. So it made sense.
Oh, they do, 100%.
And it's and it could be a good fall match, just for a match like, hey, this could be the match that we kind of cool the crowd down before the main event. So I kind of understand it now that I really think about it, but at the same time, I wasn't really too invested in it, and maybe that was why. So I could be hyped for Seth and Punk, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Why I wasn't. But I was, but you'll see why. So we do want to talk about Gunther had a promo. I thought it was funny for a 3-hour show. Obviously, the match has got some decent time tonight, but I thought it was funny that the world champion had a vignette promo, because then we immediately cut to Fluffy afterwards with a live promo. I was like, I love Fluffy, and I'm gonna watch his special tomorrow. But like, really?
Me too.
It was a good promo though. So it was just essentially reminding the people who Gunther is. He's their world champion. Everyone should be gunning for him, which they are. It was just there. Felt like it was just there. Pretty forgettable. It's like this is the whole point of 3 hours, so we could fit more shit in. But yeah, no. I mean, it was whatever. It was there. At least they acknowledged him, so that's cool. But I still wish it was more.
On your list.
What's that?
I was gonna say, I don't know what's next on your lineup.
No. So we went from the Jey Uso to that New Day promo with Fluffy. It looks like. I think it's just the way they posted. I think one posted quicker than the other on mine.
So the other thing we did have
was Roman Reigns, the backstage segment with Roman Reigns.
Yes,
So Roman. It was basically Paul. What was it? What you want to talk about it?
I don't remember what they said.
So it was Roman, basically just walking, and it was Paul like, when can I? Essentially, I was kind of like posting reaction there, so I kind of missed what he was saying because I was like typing. But he was basically, what I got from it is he was asking him when he could schedule the like tribal chief ceremony type thing. And then
the ceremony they do.
That's when Roman said January 27th, which is Raw in Atlanta, Georgia. Which is the day or 2 days after the final Raw before Rumble is what I mean.
Before Rumble.
Yeah.
So the go home.
Yeah, go home to Rumble. Sort of. So after that, he closed, like, they went through the door, like, to wherever, and the door, when they
Yeah,
closed
and
it,
it had
said
the
2K25.
2025. Yeah, 2K25 on it.
So, that was cool. So, it makes me believe Roman will be
I
probably
wonder
the
if
cover
that means
athlete.
that, yeah, Roman's a cover
He
or
was
he has
on
his own
20
showcase or
2K20.
something.
Maybe. If anything, I feel like they'll probably go. I mean, we already did the Cena showcase. I don't know. Maybe a
Yeah.
Randy one. I was gonna say maybe someone who's been there for quite a while. I mean, Roman's been there for a while, but we haven't had like a Randy one.
Roman. I don't know, could you no, I was gonna say you could do Cody, but I don't think you can yet.
Yeah, because last year was they did the WrestleMania one again, so I'm assuming they'll go back to the
Yeah.
wrestler-based showcase this year. Unless they totally switch it up. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see what 2K25 is. Should be fun though. So the best fucking reaction that could have happened from this next segment happened. And obviously, Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, did so much for wrestling. And I love that what he did for wrestling. I never was like a fan of him until he was like the NWO. I was really young. So I was born 90s. We were both born 91. So I personally didn't know Hogan until mainly like WCW days because I was born when he was like finishing up his first WWE run.
I didn't know who the fuck he was
So,
when he showed up at Mania.
I was a kid when he
21.
was in his early, red and yellow WCW days, and then obviously I liked him more when he came in NWO because that was a hot thing when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And then, of course, as I grew older, I knew about the history because WWE would tell you about the history of Hogan, and I've had seen eventually older WrestleManias growing up, because we'd get the VHSs, and I was really little, so I don't remember even if I did see some of those live, if I would, because I was so little, So, anyways, I never was a fan of Hogan, really, until he was NWO. So I can respect and appreciate what the character Hulk Hogan did throughout the 80s, 90s, all the way until now. But obviously, he's been the person behind the character has had a lot of drama, and not just anything with politics. I wouldn't even call that drama. That's just his own opinions, whatever.
That's just his opinion, which
he,
is
he
fine.
can support whoever he wants in politics. I have no care in the world
things
who he supports.
He
I don't
said in
care.
the past is
Yeah, I don't
like,
care. I don't
not
care who he wants to be president of the United States. I just want to get that out of the way. I don't give a fuck. I
Yeah.
don't like Terry Bollea for the things that happened with eventually what led to the Gawker lawsuit and the things he said to Nick, his son, after basically what surprisingly wasn't a fatal car accident for his friend. He said some of the craziest fucking shit that was very racist. So Terry Bollea, the human, I don't care for. Racist. And if you want to chalk that up tonight to him getting booed because of political issues, sure, maybe some did boo because of that.
It could 100% have played a part, but I think the
enjoyed the boos because the
racism
side was getting booed in my head. I could care less who he supports, but he got booed. Like there was cheers when his music hit initially, but it was quickly joined by massive boos.
Oh, it was so bad. Like, the crowd was either flat and just didn't give a shit, or they were booing him. There was no in between.
I also think it was interesting to wait that long to bring him into the show.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too. Like,
if anything, and I said this on stream, if you wanted a good reaction for him, they should have waited until they were in New York, like in March.
Yes.
Or whenever they're being in New York for MSG. But I think they would have got a better reaction there than they would have in LA.
100%. Yeah.
So I'll always respect Hulk Hogan, the wrestler.
Hulk Hogan.
But after the stuff that led to the lawsuit with Gawker and the stuff he told his son while he was in jail, I don't like the person behind the character. And I can say that about a few other wrestlers. But I'll always respect Hulk Hogan. But I'll never like Terry. That's the same with
like me and Logan Paul. I don't think Logan Paul, the person, is a great person. But I think
and we're all gonna have our own opinions, and that's
100%
fine.
Is like I love Logan Paul the wrestler.
Oh, he's fucking amazing.
I will cheer for him any day of the week.
He's insane. But yeah, so in crazy segment, I feel that they should have just did this a different day. I get why it happened tonight. It's Hulk Hogan, but at the same time, he was never even on. He didn't show up till Raw until like a month after it started in '93. Like February, which is okay, cool. So he was never part of the openings of Raw. If anyone, Sean would have been better. I mean, you got NXT tomorrow. You could have promoted NXT. All he did was come out, talk about the history of the WWE, hype up his beer, and fucking leave. Like, and hyped. I think he might have talked about Saturday Night's Main Event. I don't remember because I was just laughing at the booze. But yeah, no, he just came out there, hyped up the company, hyped up his own product and the partnership that he has with the WWE with it, and then probably. What you gonna do? Shit, and he still got booed for all of it.
He still got booed. And I also wonder, like, if they didn't have this partnership with him, with his beer company, would he even have appeared today?
Well, even
Or
before
was
this,
it just because
he's already been doing
partnership?
the vignette for Saturday Night's Main Event or the commercial we've been
Yeah.
seeing for that.
Oh, yeah, that. I forgot about that. You're right.
But I think that's because it's sponsored by
Yeah,
his beer,
kind of.
if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. But at the same time, like I get it because
Wild.
yeah. So it was just crazy to see. Like, obviously, again, I'm gonna respect. I'll always go back and enjoy watching like his big moments. Him and Andre, him and
Oh,
Mach,
yeah,
him and
100%.
Warrior, him and fucking Piper at WrestleMania 1 with Mr. T and Paul Arndorff. Like, I'll always respect and enjoy those. But when it comes
Him
to
in
the
the ring
person behind that
is great,
character,
but
I'm always and I understand where a lot of people do come from when they're like, why can't people separate it? Why can't they just cheer him the character then on the show where he's trying to be the character? I think it's because he's also incorporating shit that they don't want incorporated into the product,
yes.
which is his beer.
Which is his his beer, exactly right.
So at the same time, I don't think it matters because I didn't even care about the sponsorship. We didn't even talk about that. I don't even care about the sponsorship logos on the ring. I'm so used to it in other things that it just doesn't faze me.
Yeah.
So
I like him. Like I said, I wanted to see them like on TV because I very, very rarely watch UFC and I don't keep up with New Japan where this happens all the time. So I wanted to wait and see the logos on the mat like on TV today to see what I thought.
didn't faze me.
And I actually like them.
Didn't faze me.
And
Like
half
I
the
forgot they
time
were
I
there.
didn't even realize they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't faze me. I'm just so used, and it'll take others time to grow. And I get why some might not like certain logos because of whatever reasons. I get it. Everyone has their own opinions, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I forgot they were there, so that's always a good thing. It's
Yeah,
kind of like a
okay.
good referee. A good referee you don't realize is there.
Yes.
So kind of the same idea, and I think.
Well, speaking of the refs, they had a new outfit today.
Yeah, they did. So they just had like
black
a.
shirt.
It was just like a blackish gray shirt that had like 2 stripes on the left side with the WWE
Stripe.
logo,
Yeah.
and so it was.
Which I thought was cool.
I compare it to like SmackDown when they used to have the blue striped shirts.
The blue shirts for them. Yeah.
So it was different. You know, it's because you're so Raw has since the 90s have had the black and the zebras.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
on
liked it though.
occasion,
It was different.
on occasion
but
they
good.
switch it up to the ECW black ones or the SmackDown blue ones. But yeah, it was different, you know, but nothing crazy. I don't know. When the one I thought was most funny was when they zoomed in on, it was during the main event with Punk and Rollins and the buff ref, because someone had pointed out like, man, that ref's ready to go, like he's jacked, and
He was really
so I paid
jacked.
attention to him at that point, and he was, and but I don't know. That's when on him specifically, I noticed the shirt, and I was like, why does that look so different on him than anyone else? Like I feel like I didn't really like, I don't know, maybe I just didn't really fully pay attention to the other refs with it either. But yeah, no, so they have the new shirts and the refs, some of the matches they had the ref cam. I think it was might have just been Tribal Combat because then that ref got hurt.
I think it was just Tribal Combat. I didn't notice it anywhere else.
Yeah, I think that was it. But no, so yeah, and then they didn't really use the decibel reader until Seth Punk, till the entrances for that last match, which I was surprised by. I thought they would use it for Cena. I thought they'd use it for The Rock. If they did, I missed it, but they didn't use the decibel readers right now till the end of the show, which is cool because what makes that arena so unique that they went to, if you guys didn't know, is that Intuit Dome, which just opened last year, has every seat has built-in audio, like a listening device, which is, I mean, some people might not like that, but it's a way to detect the decibel sound, or one of the reasons.
I think that's a cool idea.
So they have that. That's why they did it at the end for Seth when he came out. I think it was Seth. And but I was surprised that wasn't used more. And the lights, so every seat has an LED light built into like one of the armrests, and you guys probably saw it. It was hard not to see it, but they didn't really. Yeah. Unless I didn't pay attention, which happens a lot because sometimes during entrances I'm posting the reaction, trying to keep up with everything, updating the scrolling text.
Yeah.
So I do miss things. So I didn't feel like they utilized those lights enough. I thought they would do things during entrances. They'd be like matching the entrances, and if they did, I didn't. Again, I didn't notice that. So if I didn't notice that, correct me down below in the comments. But I expected more out of the lighting. Pyro was insane. Pyro was crazy.
Pyro was next level.
I even made a joke, but I think it might be true, is they did more pyro tonight than they did at WrestleMania 40. Like, it was insane. But yeah, overall everything's good. Punk Rollins was another match that, in my opinion, I thought would hit a second level, especially with the bad blood and like that promo we had last Monday. Like, it really set up to what I figured would be a hell of a match. I didn't expect it to be like, oh, like the Hell in a Cell. Obviously, we didn't have no gimmick behind it, but I expected them to, and they started out crazy. They started out brawling, but I expected them to like do everything. You know what I mean? Just really go balls to the wall.
Yeah, kind of
And it
like
felt
go
a
all
very
out.
tamed match. It
Yeah.
wasn't bad.
I don't
It
think there was anything in that match that made me go like, "Oh my god." You know,
No,
like
yeah, like there was, the typical spots. They did a lot of finisher reversals. So there was a lot, or they stole each other finishers too. Punk did stomp. Seth did, I think, multiple
Yeah.
GTSs. So that was like one of the cooler parts of the match. But overall, I just felt it was very tame for the story that they built. But the
Yeah.
story
And for a
really
feud
carried
that's
it.
seemingly been like brewing for years, you know, like from all the things like Seth has
Yeah,
said.
if
I
it ends
thought it
like
would
that,
be
it's gonna be disappointing.
better.
In ring
I
wise,
agree,
in
100%.
ring wise,
Yeah.
story wise, I thought it was done well. I just matches tonight. Again, if you want to compare it to whatever you want to compare it to, Gabe Kidd versus Kenny, or Zack Sabre versus Ricochet, or
I will
Naito,
say, like,
even Naito versus Taco, which a lot of people didn't seem
Naito
to really care for. But
Punk like gave me like actual all-in vibes today, and I think I said it in your stream
well,
today.
he
Was
had the
It's
jacket that he
just
wore at All In.
his jacket and just like the setting of the stage, it just kind of made
Yes,
it
the
like,
tunnel
and the
was
way he
dope.
was coming out was just it was all in to
I
me. And
like
I'm
that
like,
it
oh
wasn't
no.
just the screen behind it, then the bigger screen
Yeah,
where they walk out of it. It was a tunnel, and it
it
reminded
was an
me
actual tunnel.
It reminded me of like Survivor. I couldn't tell you these specific years, but like the '90s, like SummerSlams and Survivor Series, where they had like basically just a tiny little tunnel. It's just a SummerSlam or whatever the fuck pay per view it was, and you would see them walking for at least 4 feet, 5 feet before they'd come fully out, and the crowd everywhere could
Yes.
see them. So that's what it gave me. And then what made it better, obviously, with all the LEDs. So the depth with the LED and the crazy quality looked great. So they had
Yeah,
like when
it
Cena came
was
out, they had like his
amazing.
towel all the way at the back of the tunnel, like in the LED screen. And they had like all the blue going crazy on the tunnel. So when he walked through, like it just looks, it was same with Roman. They had like the head of the table logo behind him. He walked. It was just the dopest fucking looking
It was
entrance.
really well done. The
Minimalistic,
production
but
was next
so
level.
perfect. So yeah, overall though, I'd give it honestly 5 out of 5. Like it was just production, crowd, storytelling, all 5 out of 5. Wrestling, I wish it was better. We got a decent amount of in-ring time too. I think we got, which I expected. I think someone was keeping me updated because I did tweet about it earlier, and it kind of got a good amount of views about how much time we'd get tonight in ring.
Yeah.
It didn't go like viral or anything on Twitter, but I got a good amount of responses to it, more than I normally get on Twitter. So a lot of people are like, oh, probably close to 60. Some people said over 90, because that was my question, over or under 90 minutes of in-ring time. I don't know the final. I'd have to see if anyone kept that information or somewhere.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
But I think when Punk Rollins started, that was around 40 something minutes already of in-ring time. So we definitely broke it, because that was like 15 plus minute match.
Yeah,
So
that
I
went
think we
for a
definitely
while.
broke it. And we didn't get a 3.5 hour show. It was only 3 hours and 5 minutes.
Which I'm so glad about.
Yeah, it was. I definitely felt once we got to the third hour, before the J. Drew, when they did the Gunther video, and then they went into like the fluffy stuff, it definitely felt like it was slowing down.
Yeah.
But it was
And somewhere
still
in between
good.
all of that, we also got Chad Gable challenging Pierce to find him a luchador.
Did I not post that? Did I not react to that? I think I did. I just didn't post it. Yeah, so we were I think it was the same segment with the New Day. And it was after.
Oh, yes, it was. I think
then
it
it cut to Pierce. Yeah, then it cut to Pierce.
Yeah.
I think either he was getting interviewed or something, or I don't remember what exactly. And then that's when American Made came up, and they were like, I'm going to prove that I'm the best, and I can win a singles title, and I can win with, what do you say? I can beat luchadors. That is not my weakness. So find the best luchador you can, and I'll beat them next week. And obviously earlier in the show, we got the Penta reel, and they put Penta. I don't think we really described that. So yeah, it was just the same thing. It showed the mask. It like did the slow draw of the mask, and then it said Penta in his mask. And so that we all knew it, but yeah, that confirms it. So we're getting Penta Gable next week. They also announced that street fight, which you said they did the segment for that. A lot of us didn't see in the US.
Yeah, so it was a
IC Women's Finals next week as well, between Dakota and Lyra. I think that was the only 3 things announced match wise next week. I could be wrong. So I don't expect the Raws from here on out to be on the same level production wise either. Like when it comes to, I mean, obviously they're not going to be in the Intuit Dome every Monday, but I mean, camera wise, everything's going to look beautiful, but like, they're not going to have the same crazy or brand new fucking arenas to do So I think it's gonna be good next week. I don't expect it to be killer. Like, obviously, I'm hoping
I
we
didn't
kind of go
expect it
back
to be
to.
like you said, like production like today or anything like that.
I'm the only thing that I could say, and I don't even feel bummed about it. But the only thing that was the downer in any way, if you want to look at it that way, was the matches weren't. The one match that I say you can be a downer is Punk Seth. Everything else other than that was okay for what it needed to be. I was just after the story told for Punk Seth really wanted more, and I get why it probably wasn't. They don't want to risk them getting injured. WrestleMania season's now underway. Rumble's coming up.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I can understand.
Punk got injured in the Rumble last year, so.
Well, shit. I mean, anyone can get injured easily. Cody got hurt a couple years ago badly. It was out for half a year plus. You know, Seth has out a lot this year because of his injury.
Coming up to that season where you don't want to be injured. Like, you don't want to risk. And especially your big names, you don't want to risk your big guys, you know, like missing out on this season.
So I can understand why that match was a bit more tamed. You know, you don't want to risk either of those two getting hurt. I mean, like, again, Seth was hurt last year for a bit. Punk was hurt most of last year too. So I get it. At the same time, I just thought it would hit that extra, like, you know, Punk's had some great matches in WWE since he's been back, you know, with Drew. And obviously that was violent. But, like, even in AEW, he was putting on some barn burners that were just straight up wrestling matches like he always did. And I'm hoping where he's at now after some injuries, he could still hit that level.
I hope so. I think he can, and I think we see it. Maybe he's
without gimmicks. I'm not saying that he can only do it with gimmicks. I'm just saying I'm hoping that we could get a straight, like, him and Cena. And I'm not saying give us that fucking Money in the Bank 2011 match all over again between them, because that had a crazy story to it as well. But, like, just give me something that at least leaves me with man, that was insane for both of them at this time in their careers. Yeah. But yeah, overall in ring, I wish it was better for some things, but it was still a 5 out of 5 show. I don't care.
I agree. And I kind of like that they only kept the matches to what was announced. There wasn't any spare of the moment matches. Like, they kept everything to what it was announced.
It gave the Rhea Liv match time. Like, again, I'd have to look it up somewhere. It might be on the Wikipedia actually if I really go. Because sometimes they'll do specific things. Yep, here it is. Let me see if they put the match times. Punk Seth went 19:15. Jey Drew went 10:20. Ripley and Liv went 11:40, and Roman Solo went 21:30. So an hour of action there. That's like a little north of an hour.
Yeah.
Overall, and everyone's their own way. Everyone likes what they like. I love wrestling. I love in-ring storytelling. And at the same time, though, if it doesn't have a story to it that's entertaining, I'm not going to probably like it as much, even if it is a barn burner. That's why I'm not always watching, like, Collision or New Japan. And New Japan does stories, don't get me wrong, but it's just I do need to have context as well. But at the same time,
I agree.
When you have more, I call it downtime. And there's obviously great things like the John Cena promo and other things going on in that downtime that I call. But at the same time, there's other things like that. Mainly commercials for me. They did it tonight. We got entrances. And actually, did we get that tonight where we got an entrance? Oh, we did Jey and Drew. Entrance commercial. And Liv and Rhea, that happened too. Roman Solo, it happened. I think it happened every match tonight. Because Seth came out and we got... so that's one thing I really hate. And my cousin Rick just found out about last year. Was how WWE will do the whole entrance commercial segment entrance match.
Oh yeah, when AEW and NXT.
So they did that every match tonight, but the pacing was done so well that I even forgot until just this minute they did it for every match. But I hate that shit. I fucking despise it. But obviously, on a big night like tonight, it's pretty easy to overlook something like that.
Oh yeah.
But when the shows aren't this epic, it's gonna be more noticeable.
Yes, definitely. I think they had a lot to fill out today in terms of, you had Cena, you unfortunately had Hulk Hogan, you had all the backstage
Well, that wasn't even
stuff,
announced to us. We didn't even know publicly, like, the WWE didn't say, oh, you're getting Hogan, unless you're like a fucking mark who goes on Twitter like us, that we hear like, oh, he's scheduled, But that's true. So if you're just a casual, like my brother who tuned in tonight, I would call him a casual nowadays. Him and my brother-in-law tuned in tonight, and they text me before, like, oh my God, like, we're excited. And my brother-in-law, Eric, really goes, do you think that they're going to be allowed to cuss now? And I go, well, they've cussed before. It just usually got bleeped. He's like, oh well, that's probably gone
Yeah.
now. Which
So they
ironically,
did
Rock
something
said
out with The
fuck.
Rock today.
Rock said fuck apparently, and that got like
Oh, is that what it
they did the
was?
whole like where it muted for like a second.
Yeah, because we got that too, and I wasn't sure if it was just like
But
my thing
also
playing up
the
or
crowd chanted "fuck you, Solo," and Netflix never
and
muted
that
it.
didn't get muted.
So I guess it's a case by case basis.
It could be.
So I don't know. But overall, I liked
Overall,
it.
it's good.
But I do want to quickly, we already been, because actually we did this perfectly. We're just an hour into our little review here, which was perfect. But
Yeah, that went fast.
I am curious, and I watched it with you, so I already have an idea. What was your match, excluding Raw? Because Raw was its own thing tonight. I don't even want to classify it in the same type of thing from what we watched this weekend. What was your favorite match that we watched this weekend? Any show that we watched? Because we had Collision.
Oh,
we
Kenny
had,
and Gabe Kidd.
Yeah, we had New Japan. We had the crossover show. So
Sorry.
no, you're good. Yeah, no, Kenny and Gabe Kidd. Damn, like
I have never seen Gabe. That's a lie. I watched his match with Eddie Kingston, but I don't keep up with New Japan, so I hadn't seen a lot of him. Unless like when
that
he
probably was
was
my
featured in
first singles
AEW,
match of his. I might have seen something like because I don't think I really watched anything but Wrestle Kingdom last year. I didn't watch Dominion. I didn't keep up with the G. I kept up with it as in read about the G1, but I didn't watch anything from the G1.
Yeah, me too. Like I read the things, but I don't go out of my way to watch a product.
So
and I really wish I did sometimes.
I don't think I've seen Gabe Kidd until that night, till Sunday. And
I've only seen him like talking trash, so I didn't like him. But
I didn't know the backstory of obviously COVID hit, and I guess that's when he initially was in the dojo in Japan training.
Yeah.
And it affected obviously COVID affected everyone differently, seclusion. But in Japan, they had to do the whole like crazy. It was really locked down there. Like they were really locked down. So
yeah, you couldn't go anywhere without like being like hounded by like police, you know, and like
so for him being out of his home country and being in Japan to try to do his dream, and then ended up being alone for a long time because they had to seclude because of COVID. Apparently, it really messed with him mentally. He struggled a lot with depression during that time and a lot of other things. And Tanahashi was there for him, Hiroshi Tanahashi. You know, he's now the current New Japan president and, you know, one of the greatest of all time in New Japan. So apparently that backstory existed. Gabe Kidd comes out to a big pop. I didn't realize he was going to be the babyface here. I mean, Kenny got a pop, but as the match progressed, it was very, very obvious who was the face.
Yes.
So he came out in straight up like Young Lion gear. He was wearing the lion. He was wearing the tracksuit that the Young Lions wear. He was wearing the shorts with the lion on it. He was repping New Japan. So when he came out, he took off the tracksuit in front of Tanahashi, like, I am New Japan. And of course, the report came out that he is a free agent soon. His contract's coming up. Makes me believe he's sticking around just because of that entrance. I didn't even need the match to get that. I was like, okay, he's not going anywhere. So that was cool. And then the match happened. And it started off typical Kenny, like godly matches. Slow, methodical, picks up over time. Then they go outside, do the crazy spots. It was fucking maddening. Kenny does the dive to the outside over into the commentary, able to the table on Gabe Kidd, taking out the ref, which was Bryce Remsburg, which was awesome to have him be in that match. It was ridiculous. And then eventually, once they get through the crazy spots on the outside, they did do chair shots to the head, which I hated. I don't care how good the match is.
They were brutal. They were absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it was. I hated it. If you go back to my VOD on YouTube or Twitch, you'll see me saying why, because it didn't need it.
Yeah. Like, and you could hear them. You could literally hear the chair like bouncing off their heads.
Unprotected chair shots.
It was so bad.
So that happened, but overall, after the crazy spots like that and the table spots, the match went into high gear. If you've seen a Kenny Omega match, spot after spot after spot after spot, reversal after reversal, into finish into reversal. It was ridiculous. And if you watched, in my opinion, Wrestle Kingdom the night before, it was night and day. And again, I don't keep up with New Japan on the regular, so it could be just a fact of I didn't know a lot of the context going into these matches. But when it came to in-ring, Night 2, Dynasty leaped Kingdom.
I feel like Wrestle Kingdom, like, and I think you brought this up before, I don't know if you have on socials, but to me you have, was the fact that Wrestle Kingdom was missing, like New Japan were missing a lot of big names.
Well, they didn't have Jay White. Yeah.
They didn't have Ospreay. You know, they had the Bucks on Dynasty. They had Kenny on Dynasty.
Yeah,
You know, so
so
the people they normally draw in for Kingdom were on the opposite show.
and the biggest, and usually there is AEW talent, and the only one that we had on Wrestle Kingdom was Takeshita.
Takeshita, yes.
So which is fine. Like he's fucking, and he announced after his match on I was at the Wrestle Dynasty or Kingdom, I don't remember which one, that he's signed now with the New Japan. So he's signed in 3 promotions. But what's crazy is that I was just shocked at the lack of like insane matches. So like to me, and again, I'm a New Japan super casual. I'll say I'm a super casual to New Japan. I just usually watch Wrestle Kingdom, or if anytime there's like some big crossover, Forbidden Door, Wrestle Dynasty. So I was surprised that the only match that I thought stood out above and beyond at Wrestle Kingdom was just one match. Like there wasn't multiple.
Yeah.
Like last year, I remember losing my mind at like 3-4 in the morning to fucking Tama Tonga versus Shingo Takagi. Like, and don't get me wrong, I liked Shingo versus Takeshita. I just never thought it hit that second level. The women's match was too short. Still a good match though. The tag match was good but sloppy. I didn't care for Takahashi and Naito, and that's just because Age is catching up to Naito, obviously. It even showed at Wrestle Kingdom in the tag match. But
Naito.
he's just hurt. Body's fucked up. But yeah, like it's just, and Zach and a lot of people didn't seem to like Zach and Shota.
See, I've seen that, and I even had like my friend message me because she was working, so she couldn't see it. But she messaged me, and she's like, "Was Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota like really as bad as everyone is saying?" And I'm like, "Look,
the only thing that I
enjoyed
didn't
it."
like was the time length. I felt like there was a good 20 minutes that you could take away from that match, and it still would have been fine.
Yeah.
But I think
fair.
that took away from a lot of people. It was one of the longest matches in Wrestle Kingdom history. It was like 44 minutes. I think the longest match in Wrestle Kingdom is like 48. I could be wrong on that. But
That's crazy.
yeah, so I remember them talking about it on commentary. So yeah, so that overall I was just surprised that the quality, the difference. And I think it was noticeable here on Twitter, at least in the wrestling fans that watch New Japan here in America, because I obviously don't follow Japanese fans. I don't know what the fuck they're saying. But so I am curious eventually of seeing if I can find the actual Japanese fans of New Japan on social media and their actual thoughts of the people who keep, like, you know what I mean? I'm just curious because
sure
I personally thought Wrestle Dynasty was night and day.
New Japan, I'm sure you'll get like all of them.
And you know what?
Come on.
And I haven't looked it up either, but I also hadn't seen anything about New Year's Dash today. Like, obviously, it happened last night.
I was going to ask you about that.
And obviously, we had a lot of news. There was just a lot of news in wrestling in general today. Yeah. Like, there was the whole SmackDown going back to 2 hours. Triple H revealed Goldberg. There's rumors of Goldberg coming out on January 27th for Raw. Royal Rumble in Saudi was confirmed. Chris Carlton getting indefinite suspended from New Japan from his Wrestle Dynasty comments. TNA resigning people, like today's news, and even SRS tweeted it. He was like, "Today's feels like a Rumble day. Like there's just so much shit going on." Bronson Reed tweeted out this weekend about not being at WrestleMania, multi-year deal with Hogan's beer. Like there was just so much news that like I was like, dude, I didn't even see shit about New Year's Dash. Did anything even good happen? Like,
I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to go back and look because usually New Year's Dash is a crazy show.
I feel like things did happen, obviously, but I think it was just overshadowed today.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
probably.
For our timelines, at least,
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look.
It was just overshadowed by WWE.
Overall,
another thing that I did like from the weekend, and I thought it was going to be very bad, not bad, but I was disappointed, was Tanahashi and Shibata. I enjoyed that more than I thought I would.
It was just meaty men slapping meat. I mean, it's hard not to hate that.
Yeah.
I mean, hard not to like that is what I meant.
Like I was expecting, like a full-on match.
We're gonna talk Tana for a quick second.
The challenge at Kingdom.
I'm surprised at how good his match with Evil was. I had such low expectations just because he's older, his back, his knees all shot basically. But man, was that an entertaining match? It was. I mean, it wasn't Tana versus Okada levels, but it was like, holy cow, this man he was still going over the top rope, like doing his thing where he goes over and goes to the top. I was like, dude, what is he doing? Yeah, and then him and Shibata was dope. I hated that they did do the exhibition. I don't understand why they won't clear him.
Too.
I do, but I don't.
I was so disappointed.
I do understand it, but I don't. I mean, that man.
They obviously don't want anything to go wrong, but at the same time, like I said, like if you go back and like if they were to watch the stuff he's been doing in AEW, he hasn't exactly been taking it easy either. You
No,
know,
he hasn't been doing what he did against
like
Okada, but
no,
which was
no,
headbutting
but he
each other.
hasn't been like going like soft on himself. You know, like he's been hit.
No, yeah, no, he's
You
having
know,
some good matches. But yeah,
but
no, I get it, but I
obviously have
don't get it.
different
It's like you
standard,
partner up with
not
the company
standard,
he's
but
now signed to. You let him come over here and have matches because
yeah,
he still
yeah,
does stuff for
you
Strong
won't
too, I
let
believe.
him have a match.
But like, he can't do Wrestle Kingdom. I don't get it. Like without an
Goodness.
exhibition,
Yeah.
because of course, a few years ago, 2 years ago, when he initially came back to New Japan, he showed up at Wrestle Kingdom and had a special. They tried to do an exhibition match with Ren and Rita, but he grabbed the mic and was like, "Nope,
Ren.
we are about to have a real match." And Ren was like,
No.
okay, all
Shit.
right,
Okay.
shit."
Cool. Let's
Yeah,
do
because
it.
I think at the time that's when he was still kind of in charge of the Young Lions too. So I mean, how are you
Yeah.
gonna try to say no to him? And
Yeah.
it didn't really go too crazy, but they'd had a match where they were hitting each other and stuff. But yeah, no, it was it's interesting. I get it, but I don't get it.
Mm.
But overall, I was disappointed in Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Dynasty fucked. Bucks champs again. That was cool. That was a good triple threat tag match. Zack Sabre Jr. Ricochet was
Mercedes.
solid. Mercedes, yeah, that was an okay match. I still haven't seen
That
her and
wasn't a great
Hazuki,
match. Just
but
like
it was
one was.
not. It wasn't like her and Statty. Her and Statty are fucking burned it down. But yeah, no, great weekend of wrestling, and then tonight was just a cherry on top. And then we get New Year's Evil tomorrow, which I'm hyped for. She doesn't keep up with NXT like I do.
I didn't keep up with NXT. Nothing has been like, oh my god, I
Rock's
need to
gonna
keep
be
watching.
there. Roxanne
But The Rock
versus
has drawn me in. I will say
Roxanne
he's
versus
drawn me in.
Julia should be great. I think that's gonna be what some people will say predictable because I think it's gonna play out with Cora trying to get involved again, like she did in the first time she faced Julia. But then I think Stephanie will even the odds to get her out of there, and I think Julia wins. I think when it
Julia
comes
wins.
to Julia wins. I think for Eddie, Oba, and Trick, I think Trick will retain. I think that's why they put Eddie in there so he could take the pin or whatever submission. I think they'll carry Oba and Trick all the way through Stand and Deliver. And then I think what else is tomorrow? There's a few other matches. Give me a second. I know them all. I gotta hit the button.
I didn't know him because I don't watch him. I'm sorry.
I don't even have them. I don't have the photos.
It's
I thought I
probably
already
the
had
only
them.
wrestling show, like weekly show, apart from TNA
All
that
right.
I don't
So
keep up.
besides those two matches, we're also getting Gigi, Shotzi, and Tatum versus Fatal Influence, and we're
Oh
also
yeah,
getting. Oh, that's
saw that
right. So
advertised.
this one's gonna be interesting. So this match happened on Christmas Eve, but I didn't see it because it was obviously Christmas Eve. Lexis King won the Heritage Cup against Charlie Dempsey due to William Regal costing the match for his son. But this time they're doing a
Oh,
Heritage Cup match, but it's sudden death rule. So essentially, it's a normal match for the Heritage Cup. The way I'm understanding it is that it's just going to be no time limit and just one round. So
oh,
essentially, a normal match is the way I understood it, but
yeah.
it'll be for the Heritage Cup. So that should be good too because I didn't see that other match. Oh, we're also getting a number one contender. I forgot about this. Fatal 4-way for the women's North American title. Cora versus Kalani versus Lola versus
Ooh.
Stephanie.
Stephanie has to win that, right?
I can see Cora winning it.
Cora would be cool. I like Cora.
But yeah, so it's gonna be good tomorrow. I'm really hyped for it. But guys, if you liked this review of Raw, if you made it this far, like the video, please. If you want to follow my fiance Sarah everywhere, I'm gonna drop her link tree in the description as well as mine. So follow me everywhere. Any final words on anything on wrestling?
It has been a very, very, very exciting week of wrestling, but also very tiring, I feel. I love wrestling. Do not get me wrong. I love it. But I feel like when you have so much happening in a small period of time, it can become a lot.
Yeah, we have New Year's Eve tomorrow, Dynamite Wednesday. If you watch TNA or ROH, you got those on Thursday. I think we have MLWs on Wednesday. I don't even keep up with that. Friday we have SmackDown. Rampage is dead now. Saturday will be Collision. So we still have a
Collision.
lot. There's no pay-per-views this weekend. We do have Genesis next weekend on Sunday,
I'm
TNA.
excited for Genesis.
I am going to react to that.
TNA and the rest.
For me,
TNA and the rest.
MMA fans, we got
Party for the
UFC
rest.
311 the day before. And then the weekend after that, we have Saturday night's main event. Weekend after that, we got Rumble. We have a lot of wrestling going on. So we get this one
There's
weekend
a
to relax
lot.
if you're a
Like,
wrestling fan.
I love wrestling, but sometimes I feel that it can be a bit much for me.
And then if you're crazy like us, we did watch some of the Noah. We watched Omos's match and Noah live when that was happening. We watched Shinsuke's match. We watched I think I watched the TNA pay-per-view like the weekend before that. Watched fucking the ROH pay-per-view that Friday because that was a tape SmackDown that was pretty forgettable. So we watched Final Battle. Like we've been watching so much wrestling, and which is great.
There's a lot that's happened, which is good. Like wrestling is good, but for me, it's been a lot.
Yeah. So, and quick
But
reminder: the
thank you guys
Joshies are
for
coming.
listening
The
to me
Joshies are
talking.
coming. So get ready
Yes.
for that. But guys, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.